Yeah, we should introduce the band to our listeners and viewers because obviously you and Billy Sheehan are the best known names as far as American audiences. And I'll be honest, I didn't know much about Chris or Jim or Didge. But when I listened to the record, and I was, like Jason said, we were texting each other last night saying, what do you hear? What do you hear? And I said, in Chris's voice, I hear inflections of David Coverdale, just inflections. He doesn't sound, he's not a carbon copy of David Coverdale, but I hear these little inflections that remind me of Coverdale. And then Jason came back and said he hears some Foreigner Lou Gramm. And I said, yeah, spot on. And then I sort of had this overall perception that it sounds to me like heavy AOR rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for the sake of our listeners, we need to introduce the band because the band is great. Jim Kirkpatrick on guitar, just blazing guitar solos on this thing.
Yeah.
And he's known in the UK and in Europe and elsewhere in the world as the guitarist for FM, the band FM. The
he
keyboard,
does a lot of stuff too, you know.
Yeah, I think you have a history with him, right?
Not so much me, but he does. We actually did the we did a Cozy Powell birthday bash one year.
Okay.
A friend of ours was doing this, and so that was the first time actually Jim and I got to play together.
Oh,
because he toured with us, supporting us with FM, and this sort of thing came up about the birthday bash, and basically it's using one of Cozy Powell's drum kits.
Oh, wow. Nice.
And which in itself is a bit of a nightmare, actually, because it was just two 26-inch kick drums.
Oh, right.
I think the two rack toms are 14 or 15 inch. They're massive, these things.
Some folks wouldn't even be able to see over those things.
Well, I got a funny story about that. It's
good.
And then in those, in those kind of days, I don't think there were such things as hi-hat clamps for the second kick drum. So you just had to sort of move the legs around and get the hi-hat as close as possible to you.
Yeah.
But I mean, nowadays, it's like mine. The pedals are actually alongside my left-hand kick drum and the hi-hat. It's literally resting on each other, next to each other.
Yeah.
Just sort of move my foot easy. But then it was like you had to sort of hoist your leg up and get over on the hi-hat. And then, and funnily enough, Russell Gilbert from Uriah Heep, he's only a short little guy. He was playing one of the songs and he said, for God's sake, this hi-hat's in another zip code.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if anyone could handle it, I would think it would be you, because your kit with Saxon is a monster.
Yeah, but the point is, it's just, you've got the muscle memory thing as well. So it was set up exactly like Cozy's kit.
Oh, right.
And then, you go crash cymbal, and of course, with muscle memory, with my kit, I can close my eyes and I know where everything is.
So I can see if you had like a GoPro cam on strapped to your fucking knee, your left foot would have been missing the hi-hat pedal the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
You would have been stomping in between the two.
Yeah.
Stomping, right. Because of your muscle memory from your kit. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh. There's some YouTube of it.
Oh, great.
There was me, Jim, the original keyboard player from Magnum, and Neil Murray was playing bass.
That's legendary shit, man.
It was great. It was great. It's on YouTube. You'll find it. And we actually, most people were doing things like, what did Cozy Powell play on? Like Rainbow, all that kind of stuff, Whitesnake. And we decided to do a couple of Jeff Beck songs.
Excellent.
From the Jeff Beck group. There were two Jeff Beck group albums, so we did a couple of those, and it was great. We took the evening without a doubt. It was great fun,
I love the way he
rehearsal.
Yeah.
We just got up there. We both listened to the songs. We had a quick run through and sound check, and then we did it, So that was the first time Jim and I had actually played together.
Yeah.
And then this thing, the Flood thing came up. So yeah, he's from FM. He's great. Didge Digital is
that's a great name.
It is great, isn't it? It's brilliant. He's such a great guy too. He's the original keyboard player from FM. they've got a guy called Jem now who's also brilliant. But Didge was the original one, and when they toured with us, actually, Didge sometimes plays in an Emerson, Lake and Palmer tribute band.
Fun.
Okay.
Right. So I was having constant fun with him. We were talking about this. So we'd finish our sound check, and Didge would be on stage setting his keyboards up, and I'd sneak up to my drum riser and I'd start playing a rhythm, maybe from guess the Emerson, Lake and Palmer track.
Fun.
You know, it was great. So he's on that. Yeah, no, it's great. And Chris has done a load of different stuff. I think he was in Company of Snakes for a while, and Kingdom of Madness. You know, he's done a load of different stuff.
Yeah, and what a great singer. I mean, I have to admit, I'd never really heard of him before until I'm listening to The Flood.
I think he was in Company of Snakes, but I know him from this band, Kingdom of Madness. Oh God, what's it called? Kingdom of Magnum or Madness or something, which was like ex-members of that band Magnum.
Okay.
So he was in that, and but I'd heard stuff. He's been on loads of stuff, and great.
Yeah. I got the impression that he's well known everywhere else in the world, but my ears just haven't heard him before. But when I did hear him, I was like, wow, this guy's a great singer. The whole band is great. So you've got Chris, you pronounce his last name Ousey, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Chris Ousey on vocals, Nigel on drums, Jim.
It's spelled Ousey, whether it's Ousey, but I call it Chris Ousey anyway. So Chris,
sounds more rock and roll with Ousey.
Yeah, we're going to call him Ousey on this show. I hope he doesn't mind. But the lineup is Chris Ousey on vocals, who's outstanding, Nigel on drums, who, of course, needs no introduction, Jim Kirkpatrick, who just lit me up when I listened to the record. I was like, wow, this guy's really good.
Yeah.
Didge Digital, and then Billy Sheehan on bass. But I understand Billy wasn't the original bass player. So at what point did he come in, and how did he get involved?
From what I understand, it was like the original bass player. I can't quite remember how the original bass player couldn't make it, but I think it was the record company contacted him, I think.
Okay.
And asked if he'd be interested, and he jumped at the chance. He loved, he said, "Oh, I love it." So
yeah. Now
the tracks went to America, and he did it.
Do you have any history with Billy?
No, not at all.
No, because when I saw on paper that the rhythm section of this band was you and Billy Sheehan, I just went mind blown. That's you couldn't make that. You couldn't make a better team than that. That's amazing that you guys were able to put this together.
What the tracks that I'm sorry. The tracks that you guys sent to Billy, did they have your drums on them already?
Yes.
Did they have the old bass tracks just for suggestion, or were they empty?
That I couldn't tell you, because it was Jim sorted all that out. So
okay.
Yeah. I listened to the record a couple times yesterday, and I think my favorite tracks at the moment, and that'll probably change in an hour, but my favorites at the moment are kind of opposite extremes. I really like Can I Call It Home, which is kind of a slower, almost a ballady type song. And then Stand Up is a full-on rocker. And I think for people that know you as the drummer from Saxon, that's where you hear the Saxon-style drums is that track Stand Up. You got it. You really got it going on in that song.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was like just great fun. I mean, that was, the whole recording thing was brilliant. Again, as I say, it was just me, Jim, and Dan, the engineer, in his studio. And we just went in there and tried things out, and boom, and did it pretty quick too. So
yeah. And the album is called Hear Us Out, and it's currently available, correct?
Yes.
So people can buy it now. The band's called The Flood. The album is called Hear Us Out.
The logo is awesome. Who designed the logo? Do you know?
No idea.
Okay.
No idea at all. As I say, I was just the tub thumper on it, So. Sure.
I see things like that though. That logo is strong.
Yeah.
I'd put it up with anything. It's classic. It kind of leans, it lets you know that it's not necessarily a metal record, yet it's very it can scare you a little bit. Plus, I mean, you're called the Flood. The Flood ain't nothing nice. So
No,
it's letting you know it's letting you know it's a fucking rock and roll record. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. The other interesting thing was, a lot of people have been sort of writing in and saying, you've got to go out on tour.
That's what my next question.
We want to see it. We want to see it. So I've talked to Jim about it. He's up for it. So, let's see what happens.